using more of our stash of wood over there. Welcome back to the shop and the channel and another stash build. We're building a project out of our stash of wood. What the picture you're seeing on the screen right now is just basically a block representation of a wall cabinet I'm going to build for the kitchen out of cherry. And this is the wood. Not almost a great amount. A lot of it came out of my stash. I had to buy one piece of wood for some of the parts, but it was cheap. It was 40 bucks. So I've got here are the box pieces, top, bottom, and the two sides, which will be dovetailed. These pieces here are the rails and stiles for the face frame. It's going to have a face frame. These over here, this little stack over here, are the rails and stiles for the doors. It's got two doors. And speaking of the doors, that's what predicated this whole project. And that was this. A leftover piece of that great figured cherry, which probably doesn't show up in the camera right now. I'll bring it close. You see the figure in that? Yeah, there you go. This is going to be the raised panels in the doors. So this is that cherry I got to build an altar box for a local church, friend of mine's church. It had this figure in it. It was a piece I picked up at my local yard, and he didn't even know he had this figured wood, and he found out when I bought this piece. So this is going to be the raised panels, which is going to be the large accent piece of this cabinet. The back will be basically pine boards. The interior will be painted with milk paint, and it'll have probably 3 shelves in it. And there'll be crown molding. I've got a piece left over for that. Crown molding and base molding, and then it'll hang on the wall. But a little bit of a story from our stash pile. As we were hunting through our stash pile, we found this. All that brown wood you see there is sapele of different sizes from many projects I've done in the past. All this wood up here, that's maple and birch. And all this down here is mostly small pieces of cherry oak and maple. Maybe some mahogany in there, I'm not sure. But that's all sapele. I've got to find something to make out of sapele. Before we move on, let me give you a little background here on the parts. So obviously I got all the parts out ahead of time. You don't need to see milling because you've seen it enough times. Now what I did was the rails and stile pieces, which are these rails and stiles for the doors and for the face frame, are oversized. They're all cut to the correct width, but they're oversized in length. So I can match it to the box. The first thing I'm going to do, and the first thing I always do with something like this, whether it's a chest of drawers or a box like this, is I make the box first. And these are the 4 pieces the box is going to be made from. It's going to be dovetailed, and the dovetail portions will be exposed to the side of the box so you can see those. Well, you might be able to see them. And once the box is built, squared up and ready to go, then I can start manufacturing the face frame to the box so that it fits perfectly without doing too much trimming all the way around. And once the face frame is done, then I can start working on the doors. And the last thing I'm going to cut is going to be that beautiful piece of figured cherry for the raised panels. So these rails are cut long. The stiles are cut long, and then I'll match them to the opening of the box once the face frame is in place. So you basically see what I'm doing. I'm working from the main part of the machine, the box, down to the smaller parts so it all fits together neatly together. It's like when I build a chest of drawers, I build the chest first with all the dividers in place, and then I build the drawers to the chest. This is the same thing here. I'm going to build the box and build all the parts to fit the box. Dovetails. I've got several videos on my channel of me using and kind of going into some semi-deep dives on how to use a lead jig. So I'm not going to video that. I'm just going to cut the dovetails, and then we'll come back and I'll assemble the box for the first time. Like I said, the longer boards are the sides, and the tails are going to be visible here, and the pins will be visible from the top. Because a lot of pieces from the 18th century, early 19th century, and on back before the 18th century, the joinery was exposed. I don't know. I haven't read up if that was just to show it off or just because that's the way they made them. So a chest of drawers or a box like this would be made with dovetail joints, and they would be left exposed. I prefer exposed dovetails. I think they're very elegant to look at. The last two pieces I made, they're on the top though. They're the last two big pieces I made. They're half blinds on the top and on the bottom, so you don't see them unless you're up on top. So I'm going to go cut these dovetails, get all four of these boards done, and then we'll come back and put them together, make sure they're all squared up, and then I need to drill the holes for the pins to hold the shelves, because it's going to have pins to hold shelves at different heights. So, time to make some noise. Done. Them some chunky dovetails. Yeah, chunky dovetails. One of the beauties of the lead jig you can do in this kind of thing. It's the fingers is not fixed. So what I want to do now is I just want to do a dry assembly of this, and I'm not going to glue this box together. I'm going to do dry assembly, and after I do, I set it up, and then I can make the parts to fit it, and then do the final assembly later. I still have to do the holes for the for the shelves. So let me do this dry assembly here and get this thing kind of put together. Oop. You notice how I flip that around? This is one of the mathematical magic things about the lead jig, is the way you put, there's a top and a bottom, right, left, whatever, and it's stone simple to figure out, but that's how this thing works. I'm doing all this, let's see if I get this one correct. There you go, there's that. Get this one in here. Voila, this is the box. And the long sides are the outside, obviously, and the dovetails are actually exposed on the outside. And the crown molding is not going to hide much of that, so the dovetails will be exposed. My head's cut off again. How about that? So the tops of the dovetails will be exposed, and that's the look I'm going for. There we go. That's a nice snug fit. So there it is. That is the wall hanging cabinet. It's going to go in the kitchen. I'll show you later on where it's going to go. But the next step, again, is I got to do the pinholes for the shelves. Now, the first thing I will do is I'll make the face frame for this so that it fits correctly and everything. Once the face frame is done, then I'll start working on the doors. And I have new router bits to do the doors, the rail and style router bits and a raised panel router bit. So that's the next episode, will be the face frame. So until next time, make great things out of wood, and don't cut your head off in the camera.